So, Pete, whilst interest rates have been rapidly increasing over the past 12 months, there's also been some drops within that. Just as we're telling people, look, the forecast is it's going to continue to increase. Next day, bit of a dip. That's all in relation to the swap rate. So you've got the banana skin question, mate. What is a swap rate and how does it affect our interest rates?
So it is a good one, thanks Stu. The swap rates, if we try and simplify this as much as we can, the banks borrow on the wholesale market. They will borrow in a similar way to what rates get offered to a retail client. So that could be a 1 year term, a 2 year term or a 3 year term. On the wholesale market, they're known as the swap rates. Now, New Zealand borrows significant funds overseas to fund our domestic home loan book, so the banks are borrowing offshore and therefore there's a significant global influence on wholesale borrowing costs. Those swap rates can essentially change depending on what is happening around the world, and we have definitely seen that in the past little while. So we've had quite a steady position in our OCR at times, however interest rates have on the wholesale market have actually fallen due to something happening in the US or the UK, and the banks have then passed on that fall in wholesale borrowing costs to customers. Now that's made it challenging, while traditionally in the last year we've seen these consistent increases, and as you said, really strong increases. There has been the occasional dip in wholesale borrowing costs. Wholesale borrowing cost is also sometimes the perceived cost as well. So the official cash rate generally reflects the floating rate of borrowing. So when the official cash rate changes, we definitely see an immediate shift in the floating interest rates from the banks. However, the fixed rates have generally always moved in advance of any change in the official cash rate, and that's because the markets have perceived the increases coming. The wholesale borrowing costs have already increased, and therefore the banks have already increased the fixed rates before we see any change in our official cash rate.
And that maybe explains why we had a hefty increase last week, and obviously the Reserve Bank are going to be reviewing the rates next week.